Wife of Governor General Lady Hannah Dadae farewell. Landowners petition government on royalties. NHC boss says eviction last week was unauthorized.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. The late Lady Hannah Dadae, wife of Governor General of Papua New Guinea, Sir Robert Dadae, had a dream of establishing a bigger charity organization. The dream was outdone when she passed away on the 4th of December at a private hospital on the Gold Coast. Members of Parliament, including Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, joined the Governor General, family members and staff of Government House at Marimari Lutheran Church in Port Moresby today to celebrate the life of the late Lady Hannah Dadae.
Her death was somehow relieving, as she had suffered in pain for the last 3 months from liver cancer. Amongst the many people that were present was the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and a few members of the Parliament.
And today we join Sir Bob and his family as a wife of our Governor General, paying our respects on behalf of the country and our people.
Her eulogy was a colorful one given by her daughter. Lady Hannah started serving in the teaching ministry in 1985 in Garaina Primary School, Morobe Province. She resigned from teaching in 2008 and supported her husband after he was re-elected as member for Kaboom in 2007 under the Somare government. Lady Hannah established a small charity called Rise and Shine Ministry, following her Christian faith to help the needy.
Lady Hannah has been a strong woman leader in our church, in Lutheran Church, throughout Papua New Guinea, but more particularly in the Morobe Province.
Late Lady Hannah's body will be laid to rest on Wednesday in Morobe Province. Rosemary Yambune, National EMTV News.
Clans of Koyari in Central Province say they will take matters into their own hands if relevant authorities do not respond to their petition by the end of this week. So far, 3 petitions have been sent out, with the most recent one to government seeking 30 million kina to fund a land mobilization project. The project will allow for ILG registrations, land vetting and social mapping, which will then allow for proper distribution of royalties to landowners.
Koyari landowners are currently holding a sit-in protest in response to unanswered petitions sent to some ministers and concerned authorities. Regular commuters to Sogeri would not miss the banners and notice boards put up by the landowners who've been camping along the road since last month.
Me pla camplo here am long pla time now. I think me kisim 2 months, 2 weeks ago. Me pla give him petition blow me pla long Edaranu one time PNG water board. Only come on top long here. Now me pla give him this la petition long all na me pla wait. October 29 me pla give him this la petition na me pla wait am long pla time now.
The clans within the 5 regions in Koyari have recently petitioned Edaranu, PNG Water Board, PNG Power and recently to some ministers to fund a land mobilization project. So far, the landowners claim that none of them have responded. Landowners say all they want is funding to get the project off the ground so they can be paid their royalties. Some clan leaders have raised concerns that there are many pop-up groups claiming to be landowners.
And it's the real landowner of now. There are so-called so many people landowners who are really missing him a lot. And now we are really frustrated because days are coming very close. So our heads and our body and everybody, we are really frustrated now.
The frustrated landowners say they want a response from the relevant authorities as soon as possible.
Waiting for the response of the petition, the frustrations keep on building. And as of today, we got 4 more days before the national government account close. As of today, by maybe 10:30 this morning, We want the humbly and the better response from the government as of today till this coming Friday, the government account close.
Charlene Eri, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, in Madang, landowners of the mine-impacted communities of the Ramoniko project are planning to stop water supply into the mining operation site. They say water supply will be stopped, ceasing all mining activities if Ramoniko management does not respond favorably to their demands. They claim they have missed out on business spin-offs, among other issues.
Landowners representing the mine-impacted communities of the Ramoniko project are not happy over the 5 billion Kina extension program signed by PNG and Chinese governments. They argued the signing was done without the knowledge of landowners or their interests taken into consideration. 2 separate meetings transpired between the landowners and Ramoniko management. However, both parties have yet to reach an agreement.
Mipla come looking like the city talk like MRA. So Mipla is looking lost now. Mipla be talk to what they say. Then Mipla causing problems. So what I know? And Mipla got some pass. If I go on that talk about me go down.
At around 3:30 p.m. Saturday, the landowners and the management of Ramoniko met at Kinimati village in Usinobundi. Villagers add their frustrations over a memorandum of agreement drafted by Ramoniko management, which had not specifically outlined the type of business spin-offs and other benefits they would get from the extension program.
We plan to continue making all some stuff. Don't people don't lose apart. And the restoration me must talk to some. Me also cement blow. And me talk. Not me looking. You plan. You know not looking decision.
Meanwhile, Community Affairs Manager of MCC, Albert Tobe, says the management is yet to see the details of the extension program, but understands the concerns raised by the landowners because of their experience with the company for the last 13 years.
Detail blood is and plan to working stuff. Okay. Time expansion la come up. And by me talk about plenty issues. One club long more no business. Some expansion la come up. You miss was a more contract by come up. One can work by staff. You say by kisimol isla work.
On November 21st, landowners presented a 3-page petition to Ramoniko management demanding answers. They gave 7 days notice to Ramoniko, warning them to respond to their petition before the 7 days lapsed. The ultimatum ended without a favorable response. Following the meeting on Saturday, landowners have now given Ramoniko till Thursday to respond. They say they will stop water supply into the mining area if Ramoniko fail to meet the demands come Thursday. Martha Lewis, National MTV News, Madang.
Over to Eastern Britain, and the Warangoi hydro power plant is under threat of a shutdown as landowners demand equal participation in its redevelopment. The hydro power plant is expected to undergo a major upgrade, but landowners say work will not continue as there isn't any agreement that indicates their inclusion in the project on their customary land. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
The Warangoi hydropower station is a controversial power plant. First, the hydro hasn't seen any major upgrades since its establishment about 30 years ago. Secondly, the landowners of where the hydro is located want a fair share of development on their land. In this interview, leaders of major clans in the Warangoi area told MTV they have submitted a list of demands to the government and the management of PNG Power Limited.
School.
Last week, the landowners issued a 2-week ultimatum to the government to respond to their demands or they will force a temporary closure of the hydro. The East New Britain provincial government has since responded to the landowners' concerns. East New Britain Governor Nakikus Konga has made it his personal responsibility to bring the landowners' concerns to State-owned Enterprise Minister William Duma.
And for our governor to
take the first response is something that need to be applauded.
The landowners say they are seeking an immediate response from the government as numerous concerns raised in previous years haven't been attended to. The landowners say a possible solution to their outstanding demands is to close the hydro and demand the government to listen to them.
Those departments are part of the government. We landowners own 70% of the land. So we are now partnering with the government to drive. In East New Britain, that's the agenda. And walk about Blamibla.
The Warangoi Hydro Power Station is the only source of electricity, providing about 10 megawatts to the entire East New Britain province. But in recent years, ailing infrastructure has caused the electricity supply to drop, thus prompting an upgrade. Any actions taken by landowners to shut down the power plant means no adequate electricity in East New Britain province. But the landowners say they don't want that to happen. All they are asking for is a negotiation process with the government and PNG Power.
PNG Power. Management PNG Power must be. Boli must come one time plan and please sit down round table.
PNG Power wasn't able to make an official response on this matter in time for this broadcast, but it is understood the state-owned company is aware of the issue and will take appropriate action. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
All financial commitments made by government will be paid by the Department of Finance by this Friday. This is the assurance from Treasurer Charles Abel when addressing the media this afternoon. According to the Treasurer, the coming year will see accounts open with commitments from 2018 and previous years not to be entertained. This afternoon, Treasurer Charles Abel called a media conference to announce the progress being made in preparation for the annual close of government accounts. With the government keen to tighten up revenue as well as spending, a decision has been made that the close of accounts will be hard, meaning no commitments from this year, 2018, or previous years will be rolled over into 2019.
A big element of that is making sure that some of our private sector arrears are paid up in a timely manner. So you can see we're a team here, and I want to thank the Chief Secretary who's worked very hard on making sure that everybody does their piece of the puzzle, whether it's the state-owned enterprises, whether it's the sweep collection process through Secretary for Finance and Department of Finance, whether it's through IRC and Customs. We have worked very, very hard to bring all these elements together so that government's commitments are met.
At the bureaucracy level, Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari spoke about work being done to ensure all financial commitments would be paid before December the 14th, adding that payments from finance would need to be banked by December the 31st.
We wanted to make sure that 2018 budget is closed, and I think the Finance Secretary has given his instructions to all of us, including myself, that 14th come Friday, that's where all the system will be shut down. IFMS system, PICAS and everything will be shut down.
The 2-week period between close of accounts and the end of the year will be to allow for payments to be made and presented to banks for drawdown of funding. According to Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan, strict measures will be in place to ensure proper guidelines are adhered to.
Friday this week, everything will come to a close, including IFMS and PIGAS. All commitments must be done before the 14th. We'll allow the 2 weeks for the writing of the checks, after which by 31st of this December, all checks should have been presented, and nothing will be carried, nothing from 2018 or the prior year checks will be carried over into 2019.
A signal to our people that
the measures put in place are aimed at ensuring that 2019 begins with adequate funding for government priority areas.
We are working, we are focused, we are concentrating. We envisage 2019 to be a better year, as long as we don't have too many more disasters.
You're watching National EMTV News. Among stories after the break, Morabe's NHC boss to deal with rogue officers, controversial Parker case dismissed, and CPL competing against fake products. We'll have those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. Mombasa Regional Manager for the National Housing Corporation, Andrew Algui, said the eviction of 2 families last week was not authorized by the NHC. He said officers involved in the eviction would be dealt with accordingly. The 2 families who were evicted last Tuesday were the families of public servants who had lived there for over 20 years.
The NHC's regional manager, Andrew Algui, said he did not cite the letter that was given to evict the families. He said he wasn't aware of the eviction because it was not authorized by the NHC.
There will be discipline. Their participation in this so-called exercise, eviction exercise on Tuesdays, are not authorized according to the lay management, NHC lay management. We did not sanction them to go out there and do that eviction on Tuesday.
Last week, Tuesday, 2 long-serving public servants, Levi Kurakipa and Amos Tarali, were evicted with their families from their home of more than 20 years. They were forced out and the trees in the yard were cut down.
Unexpected. Something no come persona, all carry all weapons, bush knife, tamiok, everything all come all. Just threatening me plan. All yet all movie mo kata something.
Night all okay na mi bla sini ba try din up rain kami mi bla was in tell rain. Now just like inhuman treatment.
In December last year, 2 nurses, Zuabe Tinning and Buffy Guodon, were also evicted from their homes after being told they had areas to pay. Buffy Guodon was told a developer bought the place and the family had to move. Both women managed to get stay orders from the court to move back in. The Kurakipas and the Taralis who were evicted last week also got a restraining order from the National Court and moved back into the property.
Nah, then I stay me black in the order na go and over the properties, over the flower, over the DY blooming plan, over the vanish and olive, rushing over the penis.
This man, Lucas Wipe, claims to have bought the property 4 years ago.
But me pay my 500,000 to National Housing Commission, $500,000, and contract of sales, total transfer, everything, and all giving me.
NHC's regional manager Andrew Algui confirmed that the property was sold by the previous management. However, it was not sold to a Lucas Wipe.
Property. It was sold to a company, but since then they have not taken a vacant position up until now.
The lawyer who is representing the purchaser spoke off camera and did not wish to be quoted in this report. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
After 5 years of being in court for conspiracy and money laundering, prominent lawyer Paul Paraka has won his case against the state. The Waigani District Court dismissed allegations against Mr. Paraka, stating the abuse of court process by the plaintiff. Mr. Paraka says it is now his turn to sue those responsible for tarnishing his name and reputation.
Since May 2013, Paul Paraka has been in and out of the court fighting claims of conspiracy to fraud and money laundering. Today, the Waigani District Court dismissed the charges and ruled in favor of Mr. Paraka. He maintained that the bills he submitted to the state were legal.
You see, we never charge any client any excess payments. It's hundreds of kina or thousands of kina. You add it up into so many invoices over so many cases. Obviously, it runs up into big money. I mean, it's a big operation. You need money to run an operation.
The offences charged were between 24th April 2007 and 17 May 2013. The application appeared before the court decided on evidence for the prosecution. However, in 2014, the sweep team was abolished by the police commissioner and a NEC decision. This morning, the court ruled that this was an abuse of court process.
So I now cleared myself. The court simply said the abuse of process because the allegations against me were not criminal allegations, guys. It's not a criminal case. It's a lawyer and a client relationship in something that's called contractual engagement. They engage my services to provide legal services.
The owner of the single largest law firm in the country says for 5 years he has endured court battles for wrong reasons. He says his fight has just begun.
After today, I'll deal with them. I'll use something that's mightier and stronger than them. They can abuse and misuse government institutions when they're in power, but they will never ever overcome the power of the rule of law.
Jagla Power Jr. National EMTV News.
Former Kundiawa Gembog MP Tobias Kulang has denied responsibility of the burning down of vehicles belonging to current MP William Onglo. The burning down of the fleet took place in Gembog Station last Saturday. Kulang said what transpired may have involved his tribesmen, but it must not be blamed on the 2017 election-related issues. He issued a media statement stating their political differences ended in August this year after the election petition case was over. Kulang and his family were also attacked last Saturday at around midnight at their residence in Port Moresby. It was reported to the police that armed men stormed his property and attempted to burn down his 2 vehicles and property while they were still inside. Mr. Kulang is urging for the rule of law to take effect. Chief Executive Officer of the City Pharmacy Limited Group of Companies, Mahesh Patel, says there needs to be tough measures with national authorities on the importing of fake products. Patel says a lot of his designed merchandise like PNG souvenirs and shirts were copied and sold on streets during independence. Patel opened its new store, Jacks of PNG, in Mount Hagen recently.
Papua New Guinea street markets or vendors are full of fake products which do not last long. Much of it is being purchased from Asian stores at cheap prices. Goods ranging from foodstuff to merchandises such as PNG design clothes, children's toys, perfumes and many more. City Pharmacy Limited Group of Companies has been talking to authorities over time to ban or stop the importing of fake products into PNG. Although it may seem a marketing strategy for CPL Group of Companies, this is an issue many local designers fear that is exposing their talents only to be replicated by others.
You know, we've spoken to ICCC, we've spoken to Customs, but we ourselves are not able to stop it. It needs to be stopped at the border, so the Customs have got to be responsible and ICCC has to police it.
The group of companies recently opened its Jacks of PNG store in Mount Hagen. The retail outlet sells quality Pacific wares and PNG souvenirs. CEO Mahesh Patel says many of its independent designs on shirts were copied and sold at cheap prices on the streets. This year he invited Papua New Guinea designers to design CPL products. However, for local designers to be productive, there needs to be tough measures or severe penalties imposed by authorities on fake products and on offices allowing such to happen.
Still preferred. I think one thing we've noticed is people do appreciate quality. Price is important, but I think quality people understand because it's worth buying something slightly more expensive, which will last you 5 years, than buying something cheap now, which lasts you 6 months.
Patel says despite some cheap alternatives sold on the streets, many Papua New Guineans still prefer quality products. He said such products should not enter the country if tougher actions are enforced by PNG Border Security and Customs. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Bank of PNG is providing a platform for the country's unbanked population to start banking. Through its microfinance expansion project, more than 200,000 people have already been trained about financial literacy. 8 new trainers recently received certificates in financial training, which will return to their respective provinces and train locals about business development skills.
A research carried out by the Bank of Papua New Guinea has shown that 80% of PNG's population are unbanked, meaning they do not have access to financial institutions such as banks. Majority of those who have a bank account are working class people. This has prompted the national government to pass an Act of Parliament in 2012 creating a body called Center of Excellence in Financial Inclusion, or CEFI, to address this issue. So far, CEFI has graduated over 200,000 people on financial literacy training and more than 10,000 on business development skills training.
Training and people are looking for plenty online law. Papua New Guinea, you be plenty online, plenty of market bell hungry, plenty of making business law strong law, or legal business, or making law strong law, but this is savvy or not. So government is looking, maybe looking for this is the big need.
BPNG has also directed microbanks such as Me Bank and PML to go rural and open bank accounts to encourage people to bank. The program rollout has seen many success stories. People were able to open bank accounts, write proposals, and receive bank loans and start up businesses.
No problem. BPNG directing the financial institutions are working.
The financial literacy training is for the semi-illiterate people to know how to budgeting their money and saving it in the bank accounts. The business development skills training is for small and medium enterprises like PMV operators, farmers and trade store owners to have the knowledge to run their businesses. Project coordinator Jacob Gop says Papua New Guineans do not have the culture to save money in the bank for future.
So you've been saving at least 1 or 2 kilo or 10 kilo every week or what, now you're reaching, you get some money best of luck. Because you may not have like thinking or saving money in your account. You miss out, you miss a saving, but you miss a put in your pocket, you don't save too much.
A lot of the rural population now have access to financial institutions. The program is supported by the national government, Asian Development Bank, and the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, or DFAT. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Some villages along the Hiritano Highway in the Karukuhiri district of Central Province will now have electricity in their homes. This was made possible through a rural electrification project funded by New Zealand Aid Program through an initiative of local MP, Karukuhiri MP Peter Isohaimo.
The rural electrification program was made possible through a 6.2 million kina funded by New Zealand Aid. The first part of the project was at Sogeri OS Kona, which saw over 200 houses connected through the project. The second part of the project covers 18 kilometers, which starts at Saposa village and ends at Brown River. The program is an initiative of Karukuhiri MP Peter Isohaimo to see his district have access to electricity.
New Zealand government gave us 11 NZ dollars, which is about 22 million kina. We used half of the money to put power through to Vesulogo and to Owens Corner and all those areas who've been left out in the last 43 years. The other half is now connecting Sabuza into Brown River. I am trying my very, very best to secure additional funding so we can keep pulling power up our way.
Global and Dominion Power Distributors is the subcontractor that is spearheading the project. Awoka Junius Ginigin says they are now in the final stage of connecting the lines.
Come and blow project na mi blow connect him now. Start connecting all wire together. Na all boys, I think all boys will make him all bridging.
Locals at Brown River were very happy to see that development taking place at their village. A local Arwa Mark says they have been living in the dark for many years, and such development will see people improving their standards of living.
Me believe was next week, next year, go some place here, go finish lunam. Be in this place by change, all by building more good house. Na living standard blow mantu by change because low power.
Another local, Madeline Iso, thanked their local member for that service and urged the government to continue the program to other villages which are not yet connected.
All come, all pull him, all workers, law, PNC power line to me talk, thank you, Lord. Work, Lord, make him good plaster it or pull him power come. Now, me to me like, law, highway blow me pla, every time highway to blow me pla and finish. Now, kind of same old member or start by. Sorry, Lord, place highway line here to all must him all to power must go place blow me pla.
The project is expected to be completed by the end of this month. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Don't go anywhere. National EMTV News will continue after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. With the increase in the rate of crime and violence within the nation's capital and central province, the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary opened a new family and sexual violence unit at Waigani Police Station today. Members of the RPNGC and Australian Federal Police with the surrounding community in Waigani witnessed the official opening of the new FSVU building.
For the past couple of years, the Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Waigani Police Station has been using a small space within the station to address cases of family and sexual violence. Today was a milestone achievement for them to witness the opening of their new FSVU building. The FSVU building cost about 900,000 kina and was funded by the PNG Australia partnership with the Royal PNG Constabulary. Currently, there are 106 officers working in the family and sexual violence units nationwide.
Between 2013 and 2016, the number of cases reported to family and sexual violence units numbers jumped more than 50% to more than 14,000. Around 200 women are coming to police family and sexual violence units each day. Some to make inquiries, others to report serious incidents of rape and assault.
As the population of the country expands, the rate for crime and violence is also increasing, thus creating the demand and need for units like FSV across the country to address these issues. Deputy Police Commissioner Jim Andrews said, so far, there are 18 family and sexual violence units in provinces around the country. Within NCD and Central Province, there are over 2,000 cases of family and sexual violence.
Out of that, 195 arrests were made, still very low. 11 convictions were reported. 203 cases were referred for counseling.
The opening of the new FSVU today falls on the Universal Human Rights Day. The FSVU will respond to cases in local area such as Waigani and Gerehu and refer them to partner agencies and safe houses. Patricia Kiamo, National EMTV News.
More than 150 vocational school teachers from across the country will undergo a one-year diploma of vocational education and training in service program in Port Moresby. This program will be conducted on a fly-in basis where the participants will meet in Port Moresby only during school term breaks. These vocational teachers are tradesmen and women who are experts in their field but lack teaching qualifications.
The Diploma of Vocational Education Training in Service program, hosted by the PNG Education Institute, will qualify more than 150 vocational teachers from across the country. The participants will acquire a diploma in vocational education and will also be recognized by the Education Department.
They have been teaching for a very long time, these people, 7 years, 12 years, some 15 years, but they have not been placed on payroll because they don't have a recognized teaching certificate. And their coming is paving way for that, their entitlements to be recognized because they will be attaining a recognized teaching qualification.
Mr. Niofa said that this program is very important because the country now needs competent vocational teachers to teach primary and secondary school leavers. The DOVET program is a one-year program, but the participants are currently teaching in their respective schools, so the sessions will only be held during school breaks.
3 weeks December and then 3 weeks January, so they now have 6 weeks under their belt. They go back, teach for 6 weeks or so, and then we bring them back for another 4 weeks. So we fly them in, fly them out until they completed their about 18 to 22 weeks program.
About 120 teachers graduated last year from the DOVET program. The new intakes for this year will graduate mid-next year. The DOVET program is funded by the European Union under its Human Resource Development Program Phase 2.
So in order to obtain that qualification, which is, I mean, it's quite expensive, but with the EU support, it has come to really help, lift the weight of our shoulders by supporting a further 154 teachers.
Michelle Awamoromoro, National EMTV News.
Here with National EMTV News this Monday, we go for a break, and when we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports, including the Southern Zone 9's Rugby Challenge kicking off today, and more Hunters players dropped due to injuries. Stay tuned for the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The annual Southern Zone 9's tournament began today at Bava Park in Port Moresby. 60 teams across the region have taken part this year, with most teams coming from Central Province and NCD. The 4-day tournament will end on the 14th.
The Southern Region 9's tournament began its round 1 match today with style and action. To kick off the matches, it was a tough contest between Velerupu Warriors from Arama Coast in Central Province and the Uratai Seagulls from Gulf Province. Southern Region 9's tournament director Ivan Ravu was pleased with the teams participating from rural areas in the region.
Majority of them are from the Central Province, and that's the issue of seeing all the youth have come through, and it's quite pleasing to see the talent coming from the rural areas.
For this year, a total of 60 teams are in the race for the cup. All provinces in the Southern region have registered their teams in the 9th competition.
We have 60 teams registered, and all the provinces. One good thing about this year is that all the provinces are represented. We have 3 teams from Western Province and about 4 teams from Gulf. And there's one team where Oro players from Oro Province also playing in what they call EA Froggies. And this team, this year also a team from Alotau turned up all the way from Alotau.
According to tournament director, Southern Region 9 aims at promoting the spirit of rugby league in the region.
It's not the prize money that we promote. It's the village name that we promote. The players playing for the village have the pride in playing for the village, regardless of whether they have the players are good enough to win or not. It doesn't matter. All they do is to come and participate in the tournament.
The competition will finish at the end of this week. Suli Suli, National EMTV Sports.
6 more players have been released from the SPPNG Hunters train-on squad. These players were released due to injury concerns.
These players are Maya Clark, John Stanley, Kong Morgan, Rafael Robert, Jerome Mura and Swaza Kandaki. With the pre-season training camp getting tougher every day, this showed that these 6 players were carrying injuries and therefore were released. 11 players were released 2 weeks ago due to medical and fitness, injury concerns and personal reasons. Coach Michael Marum then added Jack Oy to the squad. After releasing 6 players, Marum has added Jerry Tame from the Hela Wigman team in the Intercity Cup competition. There are currently 45 players remaining in the team and will see the final 30 players be selected by the 23rd of December. The team goes for a break before returning on the 3rd of January to prepare for the new season. They will play a trial match before season proper with a team that is yet to be confirmed. Elijah Vet, National EMTV Sports.
Don't go anywhere because Trukai Sports will continue after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To basketball now. In the FIBA Women's Under-15 Oceania Championship, Australia claimed gold after defeating New Zealand in Port Moresby. The Sapphires dominated the game, giving New Zealand no chance with a final score, Australia 110 to New Zealand 30.
In the opening 4 minutes, both teams defended the territory well with early indications this match would be a nail-biter. Early on, the Australia Sapphires led New Zealand 5-2. New Zealand struggled to get things right. Sapphires continued to dominate in attack and defense, slowly widening the gap. Australia leading at the end of first quarter 24 to New Zealand 5. The second quarter started with Sapphires extending the lead 36-7, whilst also tightening up on defense. At the end of the second quarter, Australia again in control 52-10. In the third quarter, Australia piled on 23 more unanswered points to go into the final quarter 75-23. The fourth quarter was smooth sailing for the Aussies, the Sapphires holding on to close the game on a high with final scoreline of 110 to New Zealand 30 points. Podivai, National EMTV Sports.
And the FIBA Under-15 Oceania Championship wrapped up with special awards to outstanding players in both the boys and girls division. The 6 teams were awarded accordingly for their placing in the competition.
The FIBA Basketball Oceania Under-15 Championship concluded with Australia finishing best in both the men's and women's division. New Zealand finished second best with host Papua New Guinea finishing 6th. To end the competition, exceptional players from both divisions were given special awards. Tafara Gapare from New Zealand was awarded Most Valuable Player in the men's division, with Australian Charlize Dunn the Most Valuable Player in the women's division. New Caledonia will be the next host for the Under-15 FIBA Oceania Basketball competition, with Nomea to play host in 2019.
New Caledonia will host next year's event. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Catherine.
Podivai, National EMTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports this evening. We go for a break, and when we come back, we take a quick look at the weather. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, partly cloudy for Port Moresby with a top temperature of 33 degrees. Fine becoming cloudy for Daru with a top of 32 degrees, and cloudy weather expected in Kerma. Cloudy and some showers expected in Alota with a top of 34 degrees, 31 degrees, and showers and thunderstorms expected in Papandeta. To the Mombasa region, fine becoming cloudy for Leh City with a top of 31 degrees, 28 degrees, and showers expected in Wau. Fine becoming cloudy for Wewak and a top of 30. Cloudy becoming fine for Madang, and 30 degrees and cloudy weather with some showers expected in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, thunderstorms and cloudy weather expected over the next 24 hours for Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul. The same as well for Kimbe, and mostly fine in a top of 31 for Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, brief showers tonight with early morning fog developing with a top of 25 degrees. Goroka and Kundiawa, a shower or two tonight and low morning clouds. Mostly fine for tonight and morning clouds for tomorrow for Mendi and Wabag.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 10th of December 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.